All right. So the mini lesson today, very similar to what we did yesterday in class as well. So if you recall yesterday, we started talking about what's called slope-intercept form, which is actually pretty important for what we need to know for graphing. All right. Now, when we're graphing something in slope-intercept form, remember we had this equation. So it's y equals mx plus b. M was the slope. So that told us like how many from one point to the next point we go up and over. B was the y-intercept, which is where my line crosses the y-axis, right? So if I'm taking a look at these examples here, for number 1 and number 2, somebody tell me what the slope is in number 1. 1/2, right? It's that number that's always being multiplied by x, so it's 1/2. So remember yesterday we talked about we go up 1. In this case, because we're dealing with fractions, remember we would always go to the right one in yesterday's examples. Well, now we're just going to go to the right, however many the number is. So we'll go to the right 2, right? And then my y-intercept is what? 4. But how do I write that as a point? Remember we always made it a point? 0, 4. So it's where it crosses that y-axis. Right, so we'd start by plotting this point 0, 4, and then we go up 1 over 2, plot the next point, up 1 over 2, plot the next point, and we were able to draw our line from that. All right. What about in number 2? What's my slope in number 2? -2/5. It's a 5. That's all right. But you're right, it's -2/5. And if it's a negative number, do I go up or down to start plotting my points? Down, right? So I go down to the right 5. Down to the right 5. What's my y-intercept? -3. And what's that as a point? 0, -3. Right? So I'd start by plotting the point 0, -3. And now, because we're dealing with fractions in all of our examples today, I would go down to the right 5, down to the right 5, so on and so forth. All right. Now, I believe in your Alex assignment yesterday and the same one for today, you're going to have to plot points, but you're going to have to plot 3 points. All right. So I might only show like 2 for our lines here, but remember, you're going to have to plot 3 for each. Okay. So let's do 2 examples here. All right. Let's do the same thing that we just did. So first, identify what the slope is. So I have y equals 3/2 x plus 1. What's my slope? 3 over 2. Good. What's my y-intercept? 1. But how would I write that as a point? 0, 1. Good. So the first thing I need to do is plot that point.
Good afternoon, Bentown High School. Please mark this interruption. If your car is parked in a not normal fashion, blocking a lot, and it's not moved between now and 225, please watch the tow truck driver and say goodbye to him when your car gets towed in 30 minutes. Thank you.
Now joking. Second period, we watched the dude and it's on this side of the school. He's just in the middle of 2 spots.
I
watched Mr. Hansberg. Wow.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
It did not know.
Definitely not okay. All right, let's get back to these last 2 examples here and then we'll be good. So where's the point 0, 1? Do I move to the left or to the right at all? If I'm going, okay, where do I go? Just up 1, right? Your y-intercept should always be along this line. You're never going to move to the left or to the right. Yesterday, like I said, we would do like a whole number. So say it was 2, we go up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1. Well, now that it's a fraction, 3/2. If it's +3, do I go up or down? Up. So I go up 3 to the right 2. Always go to the right, whatever that number is. So if I go up 3, 1, 2, 3 to the right 2, plot that point, and then draw your line. So this is the graph of the line. Y equals 3/2 x plus 1. All right. Everybody understand that? Very, very similar to what we did yesterday, except our slope's just a little bit different today, right? What about in the second example? What's my slope in the equation y equals -1/2 x minus 2? Not to the left. So you always go to the right, but so what is the slope? So you're saying right? So negative 1/2. I'm gonna go down, but always to the right. So just work it with it one number at a time. Like if it's -1, I'm gonna go down 1, and then it's always to the right 2. If it was negative, like in this example up here, if it was -2/5, down 2, but always to the right 5. All right. What's my y-intercept? And what's that as a point? Is that what you're gonna say? Okay. Where's that point located at? Down 2 from the middle, right? So I have this point here. Down 1/2, down 1/2. I plot my points and draw my line. Now, one thing I want us to notice, just to kind of connect some different ideas, is the slope positive or negative here? Positive. And look at the shape of my line. It's increasing, right? So anytime I have a positive slope, if I'm going from left to right, my point starts to increase. What's the slope here? Negative. And as I move from left to right, my points are decreasing or moving, they're becoming smaller in the negative direction or bigger in the negative direction. All right, so that's something to just keep in mind. If you're ever plotting these, you have a positive slope and your line looks like this for whatever reason, it means that you probably made a mistake somewhere. Whereas if your points are, say it's a negative slope and your points are increasing, you might have made a mistake. So just be aware of what each graph should look like based off of a positive slope versus a negative slope. All right. And then always keep in mind your y-intercept will always cross the y-axis. So you should never have a y-intercept like out here anywhere or along the x-axis. Cool. Any questions about either of those two examples there? Think we can manage getting the Alex assignment done?
Yeah, I think a lot were missing yesterday.
Okay.